3-2. Count on the corner. Bases loaded, 1 out. 3-2. Hard hit. Myers. Russell. Double play. And over. How about the kid? Struck him out, 2 out. 3-2. Good start for Lackey. Fowler flips at it, lifts it into left. Davis cannot make the catch. And Fowler's into second to start the night for Chicago. That's into center. Here comes Fowler. The Cubs strike first. Rizzo's got a double to start the 6th. Back at the wall, it's gone. When the Indians are now up 3 games to 1 and 1 win away from their first World Championship since 1948.
Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Fields Auto Group.
It's the final baseball game of the year at Wrigley Field. The Cubs are hoping it's not the final baseball game of 2016. Joe Maddon's crew looks to win Game 5 of the World Series and extend this battle to a Game 6 in Cleveland. They've got their ace, their best. John Lester is on the mound tonight, taking on Trevor Bauer. First pitch comes your way just after 7 o'clock. And welcome into Cubs Postseason Live here on the field at Wrigley. I'm David Kaplan with Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg and my longtime partner Todd Hollandsworth. Tough weekend so far for the boys in Cubby Blue. Guys, they did not play well last night. Tough loss on Friday, but last night I didn't think Kluber was as sharp as he'd been.
Well, Kluber wasn't as sharp as he had been before. This, it's funny. I came up with all sorts of equations in my mind, Rhino, in regards to what has to turn for the Cubs, and it just always seems to get me back to the Cubs have to swing the bats better. Yeah. Whether it's looking at John Lackey's start last night or breaking down the bullpen, it takes you back to the Cubs' offense being better, and no matter how many equations you come up with, they've got to swing the bats better, and I really think there's an opportunity for that to happen tonight.
I agree 100%. I thought we had Kluber. It was great to see that first run go up there, have the crowd get into it, but then it was erased with with not being able to have shutdown innings after that by Lackey. 3 runs go up there, and before you know, we're down 3-1. But the bats have got to come alive, and when you're playing like that, you're not swinging the bats. I think that's sometimes tends to lead to other parts of the game, like a little bit of the sloppy play, some of the defense, because they're tight out there. There's no runs up on the board, and it's hard for players to feel loose if they're not swinging the bats and having excitement on the offensive side of the ball.
All right, we'd like you to get interactive with our show. We do this each and every pre- and post-game show on CSN. Go to csnchicago.com/vote. No special app, no cost to you. We will give you a question in a few minutes, and you will see the votes tabulate right on your screen. Again, csnchicago.com/vote. All right, I've got 2 guys that have played postseason baseball. Rhino's a Hall of Famer. Holly is a World Series winner. How did you guys approach must-win baseball games? Because you both have been in that situation.
Well, there's a key ingredient to understand. It's playing loose. Number one, you've got to play loose, and it's also recognizing the desperation that you've got to play with. But let it motivate you. Don't let it crush you. And you got to understand there's a huge separation between the two, because you look at this and sometimes you'll walk into a game like this and you'll think, I can't make a mistake. Everything's on the line. If we lose tonight, our season's over with. But you can't play that way, Rhino. You know you can't play the game of baseball that way. So you have to walk into this, free and clear in your mind, ready to make the plays. I kept thinking maybe like a Chris Bryant. typically you walk into maybe a moment like this, maybe he doesn't want to barehand the ball and throw it across the diamond because of what happened yesterday. But you can't fear that moment. You got to be ready for that moment, and you got to be willing to make that moment. Play like you got nothing to lose.
That's what I like about Joe's approach. He doesn't change anything. They've been loose all year. That's got the most out of the players, especially the young players. This is a big moment, and but the other side of the coin is the players need to be ready and be ready for their moment. It might be to get a bunt down. It might be to turn a double play. Everybody be ready. Everybody chip in. Do what they can do. Be ready. Have quality at bats. Extend at bats. Each guy doing their part. They've done that all year, so it's not asking them to do anything different than what they've done. And this team seems to, led by Joe Madden, stick with what they've done. It's got the most out of the players, and they get relaxed. But once again, early runs up on the board would go a long way with having the players relax.
All right, Chris Bryant, you mentioned him, showed me a lot last night. While we were doing the post game, you don't always find guys at their locker after 2 errors and a 1 for 14 in the World Series. Some guys are, I'm in the training room, or he needed to leave early. Chris Bryant stood at his locker for over 20 minutes. He answered every question, some multiple times, because as waves of reporters came in, and did it all with a smile on his face. Probably no way he wanted to do it. Showed me a lot about his level of character. All right, time to grab the 4th member of our crew, longtime reporter on the Cubs beat. What's it like in this type of an environment? Here's Kelly Crow with our Coors Light Game Report.
Well, guys, this is definitely not the situation the Cubs envisioned, and they are well aware of the odds being down 3-1. But you'd be crazy to think that that would change this team's approach all season long. It's been one game at a time, and tonight, that's the only way they can look at this win or season's over situation. I get the sense that there's still a lot of confidence in that clubhouse, and for a number of reasons, right? They just beat Trevor Bauer a few days ago. They know they can be more disciplined at the plate, and at the top of the list, they have supreme faith in their ace, John Lester, who they're sending to the mound tonight.
That's a guy that you want to have in those situations, and yeah, he's the perfect guy that we needed right there. But and then if we win tomorrow, we got the other guy the next day. So it's a most-win situation in still. So we need to step up. Whoever's pitching, whoever's playing, we need to step up. And like I said before, just go out there and don't try to do too much. Just do your thing.
We've done it before last series, so we could do it again for sure. There's no doubt that we can't do it.
Anybody we're throwing out there right now, I feel confident in. This is that time of year. We want Ernie to be here. Everybody on this roster right now, I'm very confident that we can get something done and we can pull together 3 wins.
That's all stuff other people talk about is the stress and all that. Here, we try to play baseball. We try to do it to the best of our ability. I think the main thing is staying into what we do best, not getting caught up in the moment, keep your focus, keep your energy in on each pitch, not get outside of what you're trying to do. Can't have any wasted energy on things that don't matter. If you hang your head, you're going to be sitting at home in a couple hours. So the main thing is to keep pushing forward, stay focused on the next task at hand. Whether you do well or you make a mistake, you got to turn the page as fast as possible.
So it's Ross and Lester who will look to get this Cubs comeback started, and from there, Arrieta and then Hendricks, which is why this team feels like anything is possible. But if anybody in the Cubs clubhouse understands what it takes to overcome this 3-1 deficit, guys, it's John Lester, who did it with the Boston Red Sox against the Indians, nonetheless, in the 2007 ALCS. How about that?
All right, time for our fan poll question. Here's what we want to know. We want you to go to csnchicago.com/vote. No special app, no cost to you. You'll see the results as they tabulate on your screen. What is the biggest key to winning the next 3 games for the Cubs? Is it a better approach at the plate? Is it putting early runs on the board? Is it solid defense? Is it great starting pitching from Lester, Arrieta, and then Hendricks? Or is it staying away from Miller and Allen at the back end of that Cleveland Indians bullpen? csnchicago.com/vote. All right, how do you vote, Rhino?
I think it takes all elements of the game for me. They have to play, this is the World Series, and they have to win 3 in a row. They have to play their best 3 games all year. And they've done it. They've shown signs of it. They've done it all year where they can put everything together.
18 3-game win streaks.
Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. They're capable of doing that. They have the best defense in baseball out there. They have the next 3 guys that have been the best 3 pitchers for the Cubs this season. They need to tune up the bats and get some runs up on the board, but you can't eliminate any one of those elements for me. They have to play good, solid baseball, all facets of the game.
I agree wholeheartedly. My answer normally would be D, but I think there's one part of it that I will go to. It feels like the Cubbies are being strangled right now, almost like they're out of air. And the pressure that we've seen over the last 2 ball games, based on the fact that they're not hitting and scoring those early runs or enough early runs, I think is, to your point, applying pressure to the defense, applying pressure to the pitching, applying pressure to the bullpen. See, that's what they need to do, in my mind, is get some early runs. I'm not talking 1, I'm talking a 3 spot in the first inning. I think that would allow everybody to just go and breathe for a second, because right now they look tight. Right now their at-bats look like they're getting worse as the game goes on as opposed to better. And classically, they've done this all season long, which is score early, let the pitching be great, and watch their at-bats typically get better as the game goes on.
The last time we saw that was game 2 against Bauer. So I think this is the right matchup tonight, and the right night to tune up the bats, put some runs up on the board.
Yeah, I'm with these guys. I go early runs is where I'd go, because it would relax you offensively, defensively, and allow your pitcher not to have to feel like, oh boy, I better shut them out.
Perfect.
I got to be perfect to try and win a 1-0 baseball game. It's also a lot of pressure when you play at this stage, but when you get to this point, again, I didn't play where you guys played, but I'm guessing that there's more pressure tonight on the Cleveland Indians than there are in the Chicago Cubs. You're in a 3-1 hole, man. Cleveland's going, all right, we don't want to give them life, and we don't want to go back and have to face Arrieta again.
I agree with that to some, pegging your teammates is a tough one to do. When you look at a team and kind of classify them, what type of team they are. I mean, I could also make the argument that the Cleveland Indians walk into this ball game knowing everything that you just said, but ideally well, hey, guess what? We're going back to Cleveland. We still got our big guy Kluber in Game 7, or, wherever you want to go with that. They may show up free and easy. I don't know if the Indians are feeling any pressure yet. They haven't shown me that. Honestly, the team that's been feeling all the pressure has been the Cubs, and that's what's really shocked me. I give the Indians a lot of credit. They have showed up. They kept their composure last night, even when they were down a little bit. I really do believe that the Cubs, if they would score early, can flip that script. You got to make a Aroldis Chapman even out Andrew Miller. See what I'm saying? It's like Chapman's not even been a factor in this series. You got to make him a factor.
That's right. Yeah, there's different ways to look at it, but you talk about setting the tone and who's the pressure on in this game. I think the first 3 innings are very important. You talk about what the game feels like in the first 3 innings. What are both starting pitchers doing? What kind of offense do we see? What kind of at-bats, looks at the pitchers, hard hit balls, whether they're outs or whether there's runs up on the board. I think the first 3 innings are critical in this game to see who the pressure is on for the remaining innings of this game.
All right, let's take a look at our Ameristar Casino Hotel pitching matchup, and we'll take a look at that. Probably our starting lineups. Holly, take us through as you look at Fowler, Bryant, Rizzo, Zobrist, but you've got Hayward back in there. He actually has been playing very, very well the last ball game. Had a couple of hits. Rhino had picked him. He looks like he's maybe starting to break out a little bit.
Well, and sometimes you alleviate the pressure by alleviating in your own mind the expectation, and I think that's maybe what it comes down to. Believe me, I've gone through enough struggles in my career where I was like, you know what? Nobody's expecting a whole lot right now. You go in there, you kind of let your mind relax. A couple of nice base hits last night, a couple of good at-bats. Hopefully you can play off of that. Bottom line is, Cappy, I don't know. Here we're in Game 5. I mean, does it really? Do we break down the lineup? I mean, bottom line is, I think we just all want to scream from the tops of the mountains here. Score some runs. I don't care how it has to happen. Bunt, hit behind a runner, do whatever. Hit homers, score some runs, man. I mean, that's just where I'm at. This is your classic Lester lineup. We've seen it all season.
It's the same lineup they've had when Lester's out there.
They've
done it all year.
Right.
It's up to all those guys as a lineup. It's not a one-man lineup. It's all of them. They're all capable up and down the lineup. Whether it's the bottom of the order, whether it's Lester getting down a bunt, setting up the top of the order, it's up to the whole lineup to get the job done.
Why is Baez struggling to the degree is where we're seeing him, you and I are upstairs and we're watching, he's swinging at pitches that literally with a boat oar he has no chance of touching?
Well, he's going to be number one, the best person to ask that too, and he's probably going to give you a politically correct answer. My guess is that he's feeling the heat of the World Series. I mean, we've watched him. It was funny early on in this postseason, especially against the Giants and the Dodgers. You watched his at-bats continue to get better, taking his pitch, taking pitchers' pitches, waiting for his pitch, and then all of a sudden there was this moment. I don't know if it was at the beginning of the World Series, maybe it was at the end. I actually thought it was the last game of the NLCS. The big swing was back. Chasing pitches outside the strike zone. And sometimes when you do this, and I used to do this myself, and I'm not obviously proud of it. It was something I wanted to get better at as I went through my career. When I got hot, I wanted more, and I couldn't get enough. I had 3-4 two-hit games in a row, was feeling really good about my stroke. Show up to the yard that day and was like, all right, I want another 2 hits today. But the pitcher wasn't going to let you get 2 hits that day because he wasn't going to pitch to you. He's like, this guy's hot. We got to be careful with him. And I think that's what everybody's doing. They know that Javi can do major, major damage. Look at how he's getting pitched. He's getting sliders off the corner. He had a flailing strikeout yesterday on a 2-strike pitch. Even if he was on it, he wouldn't have done anything with it. So it's kind of how it's been going.
All right, we've got to take a break. Justin Grimm is going to join us from the Cubs bullpen. We'll have Justin with us next. You're watching Cubs Postseason Live, pregame style on CSN.
Cubs Pregame Live is presented by Fields Auto Group. Fields matters because you matter. See Fields first. FieldsAuto.com.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. We've prepared a Joe Madden Signature Edition vehicle. It will be raffled off at the end of the season with the proceeds going to many of Joe's favorite charities.
But not before I have the pleasure of driving it to and from the ballpark. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at Fields Auto Group for this special vehicle and for making this all possible.
For official raffle rules and complete details on how you can win this Joe Madden signature vehicle, go to FieldsAuto.com.
It is an honor for Fields Auto Group to help good causes like Cubs Charities and Misericordia. Fields matters because you matter.
The Chicago Cubs are in the World Series, and Wrigleyville Sports is the place for all your official gear. World Series t-shirts, sweatshirts, and the official locker room cap worn by the team. Champagne not included. Pins, flags, collectibles, and toys for Cubs fans of any age. Everything you need to celebrate the Cubs' first pennant since 1945. Visit our store across from Wrigley Field or WrigleyvilleSports.com now.
Call you back. Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up!
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there.
What a day.
With car insurance for when things go wrong.
What a day!
But also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
This one has amazing gas mileage, but I think this one is more my style. But then again, maybe this one is more my style. What to do?
Now, at Continental Motors, there's a 3-day exchange policy on all used cars.
Wow, 3 days, really?
Yeah, 124 hours.
No, 3 days is 72 hours.
Well, not if you're using the metric system.
No, still the same.
Maybe if you carry the...
72 hours.
So then 3 days. Grab your phone and come check out our unbeatable online selection at ContinentalMotors.com.
All right, it is 48 minutes till start of the game. Still time to get Feldco a call, 866-4-FELDCO. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live alongside Todd Hollingsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Justin Grimm, kind enough to join us here before the ball game. All right, take us inside the clubhouse. Is everybody tight? Would you say, no, we're loose?
No, we're loose. We got the big left-hander on the mound. You kidding me? Everybody's confident. Get this one today. There's no need in worrying about 3. Just get this one today, get the off day, rest up, and go to Cleveland.
Is it as simple as slowing the game down? I mean, you've watched the last 2 ball games. You feel like, the Indians, they're playing some pretty good baseball right now. How do you get the Indians to stop doing what they're doing and your boys to start doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I think it's just keep letting it play out. Yeah, they're playing some really good baseball right now, but just keep pitching, keep making pitches, and I think the bats will come alive tonight.
Facing a team like the Indians, you've been in there a couple of times. What is the big challenge pitching to these guys? They have some good players.
Yeah, they're very patient hitters, obviously. So it's just about attacking them, not giving in to them, and continue to go after them.
Let me ask you about Andrew Miller. I think on the national stage, obviously he's getting tons of attention. But for you, in this dugout over here, you look across the field, you see a guy like Andrew Miller being used the way that he's being used. What are your thoughts on his postseason?
Yeah, he's really been their fireman. So he's got dirty stuff. It's obvious. His stuff plays in the zone to out of the zone really well, and it's tough to lay off. And I think that's why he's having a lot of success right now. So it's just moving forward, just, pick your battles with him, I guess. Dex put up a good at-bat against him the other night, so we're obviously seeing him a lot more, and hopefully we can continue to do stuff like that.
So after a rough couple games, Friday a 1-0 ball game, could have gone the other way, one big hit in the ninth, and you win the game. And then a rough game last night. Does Joe talk to the team, or nope?
No, not at all. He hasn't said one word. He actually, I think he wanted to show up to the field a little later today, get our rest. At this point of the year, he understands the grind of it. It's just come to the field mentally, physically prepared to go, do what you need to do, and he trusts his guys to go out and get it done.
Has Joe talked to you about things being a little bit different with you guys down in the bullpen now? Things might, this is an elimination game for the rest of the season. That's how it is. You guys got to win out, plain and simple. Now you look at what the Indians have done, and Terry Francona has been willing to use Andrew Miller just about anywhere all season long, 5th inning, 6th inning, 7th inning. Talking to you guys, has he mentioned maybe using you guys in some different roles, say today and the rest of the series?
Well, before the playoffs started, he said, forget the roles. There are no roles. And it definitely has been an adjustment for a lot of us down there to get used to that type of thing. You saw Rondon warming up in the 4th inning last year, and it was our closer for like the first half of the year. It's crazy. So, it's just, it's staying mentally ready. I feel like right now guys are sitting down there and they're mentally into it when they're not in the game. So it's like, you always try to be, but it's a little easier knowing if you have a role, then you can start to create that feeling at the right time. But being down there, you got to be ready to go from the first, second, third, fourth on.
75 degrees on Friday. Yesterday it was 75 about this time, and then cool during the game. Now it's chilly. I mean, you feel the little bite in the air. Does that favor you or the hitter?
I'd say we played in colder weather more often this year, I would say. So, but as far as pitching and hitting, I think this game's baseball. It has pros and cons both ways. So.
Talk about the dynamic. It's interesting. We get to postseason baseball, and we play 3-game series. Sometimes we play 2-game series during the year. You get to the DS, it's 5. You get to the CS, it's 7, and you get to the World Series, it's 7. Advantage hitter or pitcher when it comes to all the knowledge you're accumulating about each other right now?
It's a tough one, but I would probably go advantage hitter. Obviously, when hitters see pitchers more often, they may necessarily lay off a pitch that they didn't the night before or stuff like that, so I'd go advantage hitter.
Appreciate your time. Good luck tonight, and I hope we see you in Cleveland tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Sounds good.
There he is, Justin Grimm of the Chicago Cubs. We'll come back. We'll talk John Lester next.
If you say, why can't he throw to first? Why can't he throw the ball?
How's it going? Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-form steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck. Awesome. Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Wow, that's a good-sized puncture. You hear aluminum now, you're going to go, ugh.
Let's check out the Silverado steel bed.
Wow. Yeah, a couple dents. I'd expect more dents.
It's Truck Month. Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get over $11,000 total value on this Silverado All-Star.
Welcome to the Apt Showroom, one of the top appliance retailers in the U.S. Explore our full line of Thermador appliances that will inspire and empower you to imagine design and bring to life your dream kitchen. Our team of product experts will work with you, your builder, and designer from the very first sketch to the very last detail. Discover how Thermador is personalized to the way you cook and bring the ingredients of entertaining to life. Visit us at Apt, pleasing people since 1936.
Hello? This is she.
Is that the doctor?
Okay, wow, really? It's 2? That's great news, thank you.
It's 2?
Yes, it's 2. It's 2 for 1 windows at Feldco.
Feldco is offering 2 windows for the price of 1, with no money down and no interest until 2018.
2 windows for the price of 1 ends Monday. Hurry. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid, the SUV that dares to go beyond utility. Lease the 2016 NX Turbo with 0 due at signing for $429 a month for 36 months. See your Lexus dealer.
Try to win one game, get the momentum back. Home field tonight, just try to look at the small picture and get that excitement. They've had a great season. Just look at just win one game, get it back.
Is it hard to get your guys to do that, to not look at the big picture there?
I think it's one game, and at this stage of the series or the season, that's a focus, that's a concentration, and they've been there where they have to win big games, and they won a lot of big games, and that's how you got to look at it. Can't look past it.
All right, welcome back. Cubs postseason live with the Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg and Todd Hollandsworth. I'm David Kaplan. It's time for our Apt Electronics and Appliances pitching matchup, and we got a good one tonight. Trevor Bauer will go for the visiting Indians. John Lester for the Cubs. Bauer suffered the loss in Game 2 Wednesday night in Cleveland. As for Lester, 2-1 this postseason, an ERA of 169. He did take the loss in Game 1. For more on the big left-hander, here's Luke Stuckmeyer.
All right, thanks, Cap. It's all how you look at it. It's been 31 years since the Royals were the last team to be down 3-1 in the World Series and then come back to win it. But keep in mind, the Cubs have won 3 straight games 18 times this season. And despite the big challenge ahead of them, they are confident and feeling good with John Lester going tonight, getting another shot at the Indians and another shot at the first inning.
I don't mind giving up hits. I don't mind giving up homers. It's the walks and the hit by pitch, that really haunt me in that first inning. So you can't give up free base runners, especially this time of year. You just give them more opportunities to see you. You have to make more pitches. You may have to show your hand a little bit earlier on what you're trying to do to guys. So, it's a matter of walks. I don't care about the base hit. I don't care about the stolen base. I still have 1 pitch away from getting out of that inning. And I got, Napoli up down 2-0. I'm not going to give in, so I still have a free base. The next batter, I need to make better pitches. Didn't do that. So for me, after that, we made adjustments and, we gave up some hits, but, nothing except for the homer. I don't mind that solo homer, on a bad pitch. I can sleep at night with that. The walks and the hit by pitch, especially 0-2, that can't happen.
Lester's been the Cubs' best pitcher this postseason, a 1.69 ERA with 21 strikeouts and just 5 walks. Joe Maddon says his lineup is all about defense behind Lester, and he's confident in the 19-game winner.
He's just continually grown while he's been here. Started out slowly last year, was hurt in spring training, our first year together. Beginning part of the season didn't go as he had wanted it to, but by the end of the season really started to kick it in gear nicely. This year, pretty much wire to wire. He's just been a different cat all year, just much more comfortable in his Cub skin this year, and you could just see that from day one. So right now, for the most part, for most of this season, we've seen him pitch as well as he possibly can. He's been outstanding.
And Cap, hopefully the Cubs bats can get some over this ivy tonight, get things going. And remember, as I've been saying all season long, that slogan that I coined, 1 at bat, 1 game, 1 win at a time. Back to you guys.
First of all, Luke, if you knew the slogan, you would know it's 1 batter, 1 pitch, 1 out at a time, buddy. Do your homework. Make sure you get the slogan right. Welcome back here on Cubs Postseason Live with Ryan Sandberg and Todd Hollandsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Let's talk about John Lester. He's the big lefty. You heard him say, I wasn't great my first start. I didn't have real good command of my stuff. but yet he is their ace. He won 19 ball games.
Yeah, and you couldn't have a better guy on the mound tonight. I mean, I don't look at his last start. I mean, honestly, I started to get bored with him in September. He was in such a great rhythm. I mean, really just kind of even in the pregame show, breaking him down. He has all 4 of his pitches working. He knows how big this game is. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you how he's going to attack this Cleveland lineup. He made pitches. The only thing that I would say is this. The Cleveland Indian hitters are going to try to wear him down. I know that for a fact. I know that's how they're going to approach him. Think back to the first inning of his last start against the Cleveland Indians. 5 pitches, he got the first 2 hitters of the game out. And then it took him 23 pitches to get the next, I think it was 5 or 6 hitters out, and he'd given up 2 runs. That was all with 2 outs. They grinded. They took their walks. They took their 2-out walks. Again, hit by batter and a 30-footer scores a run. It's what the Indians do. They have not put a whooping on anybody. I think yesterday was the first time all postseason that their offense, literally by definition, erupted. So I don't think John Lester has to go out tonight to be extra special or extra on his game. He needs to go out there and make pitches. And if he does, he will get those outs. He will get that lengthy start. And really, again, as we talked about at the beginning,
score some runs.
It comes back to the offense, scoring some runs. Right.
I agree. I mean, he can't wait to get back out there
Who, him or Holly?
Holly. No, John can't wait to get back out there and do what he has to do to keep this season going. I feel a little bit more cold weather here, cold wind. We got the wind blowing in. A little bit more of a pitcher's ballpark and weather-wise favoring the pitchers tonight. So I like John Lester in that spot. He can't wait to get back out there and do his thing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this weather plays into what both these guys are able to do. We were watching BP. The ball was not jumping like it was on Friday.
Friday, or even yesterday, just because it was warmer. Cold out here right now. I'll tell you what, I mean, you got to put together at bats. Bottom line is situational hitting, forcing the issue. Ben Zobrist bunts. I'm not a big guy, I know that dropping down a bunt, I get that, but with the small ball approach, the idea that it's like, well, I'm going to bunt and then we're going to bunt him over and then we're just going to pepper the ball. It's just being short and smart with your swing, really, for me. And I hope people really understand that. When we say small ball, we're not talking about just barely putting the ball in play and bunting everybody. It's just situational hitting and shortening up your stroke, almost like a 2-strike approach, looking to put the ball in play, using the opposite field, hitting behind runners, and just kind of keeping that pressure on the Cleveland Indians.
Back in my day with Wrigley Field, with these conditions right here, I think the managers would go looking in that this would be a low-scoring game. So maybe some small ball, some early runs with some small ball. Every run counts with that mentality. But we'll see. I really like the fact that Lester, I think he really has to establish the strike zone much better than he did in that first inning. Get the ball over the plate at the knees and expand as he does as the game goes on, working on the corners.
All right, let's talk about Trevor Bauer. He only lasted 2 2/3 his first start in this World Series. Cubs are going to look to jump him early and often and get themselves that crooked number and some early run support. What about Trevor Bauer? It keeps him in a Cleveland rotation. What does he have when he's good?
Well, he's got movement, so there's no doubt about it. I mean, part of the problem in his last start, you talked about those 3 2/3, right? What's that, a total of 8 outs? It took him 87 pitches to get 8 outs his last start. Part of the problem is that his fastball at the top of the zone, he couldn't command it. His breaking ball a lot of times has so much movement that it's in and out of the zone. But if you're behind in the count like he was a little bit, hitters aren't inclined to swing at it. So the Cubs hitters, they did a fantastic job of wearing him down, fighting him. He's got good stuff. But again, very, very inconsistent. Don't expect to see him long tonight, though. I honestly think it'll be one pass through the lineup.
You know what, though? With that being said, I think once again, I think the hitters have to make the pitcher come to them and stay in the strike zone. Even with 2 strikes, battle, shorten up a little bit, and make them throw strikes, hittable pitches, so you can put the ball in play and not go out of the zone. So a guy like Bauer, who we don't want him to be effectively wild tonight, with him getting some pitches or swinging some bad balls and then have him spray the ball all over the place, and we're swinging at it. So that's a continual adjustment that the hitters have needed to make, having the pitchers make them throw the ball over the plate.
All right, time for the Cleveland Indians lineup. Here's the card that Terry Francona is going to turn in at home plate. He goes Rajay Davis, Jason Kipnis, Francisco Lindor, Mike Napoli back at first. You've got Santana, Ramirez, Geyer, Perez again catching, and Trevor Bauer, the pitcher. Santana's been in left and first. Today he's back in left again. Surprising you at all? Not great defensively.
No, he's not. But I think that they get a little bit of an advantage when the game's like this. I mean, he's one of their big thumpers. We know that. He's got tremendous power. He and Napoli in the middle of the lineup. It's how they roll. But with that being said, as we just talked about, the conditions here are a little bit colder. When you're not chasing balls and the ball's not flying all over the yard, you can get away with some inferior defenders in the outfield. And by definition, Santana probably qualifies for that. But you're not asking him to do too much. Remember, he's probably going to be in there for about 5 or 6 innings, and then they're going to get some of their bench guys probably in there to be a part of defending.
You know, Kipnis and Lindor, this is my first real good look at them as far as seeing them for a whole series. Quality players, quality hitters. Those two guys are on fire, and in the middle of the lineup with Napoli and Santana, those 4 guys have been pretty consistent bats. So we have to cool them down, get down to the bottom of the order, and do some work down there. But don't let those guys group together a bunch of hits and have a blast in there with a crooked number going up there.
All right, time for Built for Business, brought to you by the fine folks at Comcast Business. And we are looking at Jason Kipnis' postseason numbers. Chicago area native from Northbrook. Broke out at the plate with a 3-hit game last night for the Tribe this postseason. He's 10 for 47, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 11 strikeouts. Comcast Business, built for business. All right, Kipnis had a big night last night.
It's unfortunate he had a big night last night. And again, we were talking about it a little bit in the postgame. What do you take from last night's ball game into this? Sure, we talk about momentum. We talk about the Cubs' bats, having to be better. You start to figure out, okay, well, what needs to happen in this game? You're going to have to control some of these hot hitters now. Lindor, when we entered this series, we remember game 1, I told you, Lindor is our hottest hitter. The rest of this lineup hit $192 coming out of the ALCS. They weren't doing anything. Now, all of a sudden, he's swinging the bat. Napoli almost hit a bomb last night. Santana's had some good at-bats. Now you've got a middle of the lineup that you've got to contend with. That's the thing that started to bother me a little bit. You had a real chance right there to keep those guys down. Fortunately, Kipnis found his stroke last night. 3 rockets he hit off his bat last night, catching up to velocity. So you're gonna have to pitch careful. It makes Lindor that much better when he's got guys around him hitting. He's basically been hitting all postseason without anybody doing anything around him, and now they've got that working for him, so you got to have to be careful.
If these guys continue to swing the bat, we're going to have to answer on the offensive side of things. We got to match them. This is our home ballpark. This is Wrigley Field. Our hitters are used to
find a way.
Got the fans behind our offense. Find a way, get base runners. Then we're going to have to swing the bat to match that, and then come down with some key hits and key RBIs in the middle of the game, late in the game, whatever it takes. Find a way to get the job done.
All right, we've got to take a timeout. We'll come back. We've got more to do. Keys to the game, key performers, and more. You're watching Cubs Postseason live on CSX.
The layup. Drive a 2017 Hyundai Elantra for just $99 a month. It's as easy as a layup at McGrath City Hyundai. When you do the math, you'll choose McGrath. McGrath City Hyundai. Give us a shot.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
This Cubs Injury Report is brought to you by ATI Physical Therapy, taking physical therapy to a higher level. Ask your doctor about ATI Physical Therapy. Get there.
Mr. Submarine is open late every night, so no matter when the urge strikes for a tasty sandwich with delicious ingredients on Bakery Fresh Toronto bread, dive into deliciousness with Mr. Submarine.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
slam dunk. Drive a 2017 Santa Fe Sport for just $179 a month. It's a slam dunk at McGrath City Hyundai. When you do the math, you'll choose McGrath. McGrath City Hyundai. Give us a shot.
All right, it's time for the ATI physical injury report. And after spending almost the entire season rehabbing from knee surgery, Kyle Schwarber returned to action last Tuesday night in Game 1 of the World Series. DH for the first 2 games in Cleveland, coming through with 3 hits. He has not been medically cleared to play in the field, so Schwarber will once again be available to Joe Madden tonight only as a pinch hitter. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live on CSN with Ryan Sandberg and Todd Hollingsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Where do we see Kyle Schwarber next year? He was drafted with the thought eventually he would catch some and play in the outfield some. With the knee injury, some have questioned, can he catch again?
Yeah, that'll be the interesting thing, how the offseason goes and how he progresses in spring training and see where he's at. He can play some outfield position. We've seen that. I think ideally, if he could be behind the plate in a short period throughout a week, once a week, something like that, to keep him sharp as needed with his bat to start with and get him in the outfield. I think that's the combination, but they're going to see how he progresses and what he looks like in the spring.
I anticipate seeing him in the outfield a lot. I think that's going to be asking an awful lot of him to be behind the plate. You've got Wilson Contreras. Things are moving in the right direction.
So would you think you bring in a backup catcher? Once Montero's contract's up, Montero will probably be here for another year, and then he's done. Do you bring in a backup catcher and say, Schwarber, if you catch, you're a third catcher? That's
right. Well, and again, that's something you're always going to be able to carry in your back pocket, and I think that's part of what he will be moving forward. But I've watched too many guys throughout my career, from Buster Posey to Joe Mauer, guys who are great catchers and great hitters. Yadi's the only one who's been able to kind of keep it going. I mean, most of the time you hear the conversation, when can we get him out from behind the plate? And that's ultimately what you want to do. Remember, we already know that Schwarber's bat is a major player. It's a major impact bat. He's one of the best thumpers in the game. His numbers will justify that soon enough. But my point is that, if he's taking on that, does it affect the bat? So I honestly think his fit to me is more as a left fielder than it is behind the plate.
All right, one of the biggest Cub fans in the Chicago area is CM Punk, the professional wrestler, now in Ultimate Fighting. He is a diehard Chicago sports fan, and he's standing by with the one and only Luke Stuckmeyer.
All right, thanks, Cap. We are here with one of the biggest Cubs fans, CM Punk. A lot of big Cubs fans here. You were preparing for your UFC bout. We went to see you in Milwaukee, and you said, I'm fighting now because I've got to be ready for the World Series run. You were serious.
I was dead serious. Yeah, a lot of people are asking me when the next fight is, and my answer is I don't know, because I'm waiting for the Cubs to win the World Series. So I knew my October was going to be strictly dedicated to baseball.
You've seen odds against you before, right? Odds are against the Cubs, maybe, but how do you feel about this?
I'm staying positive, and I think as Cubs fans, I think that's important to do. We've seen a lot of bad, but our team won the pennant. They're here. They're in the World Series. They said they'd never see that. I think what you got to do is you got to take it inning by inning now, and then you take it game by game. You got Lester, then Arrieta, then Hendricks. I'll take those odds. And I know the Indians are tough and they're scrappy, but this is extremely winnable to me.
Yeah, and I think if they can win tonight, one of the biggest things is getting Schwarber's bat back, and he's got that swagger, and that means something in athletics.
Yeah, and the way things go with baseball, you know how it is. You get one bad bounce, or one good bounce in your favor. You just need a big moment. And they win here today, and they take it back to Cleveland. I think a lot of people are going to be nervous.
NLDS, you did Let's Play Ball. You were nervous for that?
Oh yeah, I was extremely nervous. They didn't tell me. They shanghaied me. They surprised me. I got to the game, and they're like, "Oh, can you do us a favor? Can you say play ball?" And I was like, "What are you? Why me?" I asked him. I said, "Was Cusack not available?" I thought somebody maybe fell out, so they're using me as the quick replacement. They just said they didn't want to tell me because they knew I would freak out about it. Because every time I've thrown a pitch or sung the stretch, like all day, I'm like getting nervous now just talking about it. It's really weird. This is Wrigley. It's a very special, important place to me. So I don't want to fall flat on my face here at Wrigley.
I could see that making you nervous, but what about the games in general? Like last night watching, have you been nervous during the World Series?
A little bit. It's stressful. My wife could tell you funny stories. It's stressful. I want these guys to win so bad. Not for me. I want them to win for guys like David Ross. I want to. That's just such a great story. And they're the ones that play the game. They always say, we want to win for these fans. I want them to win for themselves.
Yeah. I think it's you see the elderly Cubs fans coming in 80, 85, 90, and they're here. They're fighting through these crowds to get here, and you can see it means everything to them.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. Some of these old folks, it's rough being in here. But it would be great for them to win it there. I know there's a couple people who were at the last World Series game at Wrigley, and for them to be able to come to this game, it's special. It's a special moment.
All right. Let's get 3 more wins, then we'll come back when you're training for your next bout.
I might announce whatever that fight is the day after they win. Maybe after the parade.
At the parade, maybe.
There you go.
That sounds like a good spot.
Let's go Cubs.
CM Punk, thank you. Cap, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, we've got to take another time out here on Cubs Postseason Live. We come back, we'll talk about the 2 skippers, Terry Francona for the Indians and our Joe Madden of the Cubs. We'll be right back on CSN.
Combining home and auto can save you big. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
4 Seasons, how can we help you?
It's the furnace! The old pile of scraps burning through my savings! Hurry!
Remain calm, we're on our way.
24-hour repair and same-day installation. 4 Seasons can replace your furnace for as little as $17.95. Furnace and AC combos from $36.95. And take advantage of 0% interest financing for 5 years.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference.
Skyer.
Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
Hello?
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Are you serious? Not khakis. What are you wearing?
For fastballs, call me. For saving time and money, call State Farm.
You sound hideous.
Don't ever permit the pressure to exceed the pleasure. Don't ever permit the pressure to exceed the pleasure. That's on the top of my lineup card every night.
We continue our Cubs postseason live here on the field at Wrigley. Cubs and Indians play a pivotal game. The Cubs have to win or their season comes to a stunning conclusion. A 3-game sweep for Cleveland. Holy cow, who would have thought that this weekend? John Lester against Trevor Bauer. I got to ask you guys about the managers. We'll start with the visiting manager. Terry Francona has been nothing short of outstanding. Not afraid to go to Andrew Miller in the 5th inning against the Blue Jays or bring his guys in early in this series.
Former teammate of mine in 1986. I think he was over here for about 2 or 3 months. He was a lot of fun to be around as a teammate, and I think he's the same way as a manager. I think the players like to be around him. He keeps things loose and fun. Any pressure that there might be on any players, he'll divert that and make and create something that brings light of it. And he's a fun guy to be around. I think he's done a tremendous job. But he knows his weapons over there, and he's used them well. And he's got them stacked up in the bullpen. He knows what he has to do to win a World Series, and so far he's used those guys. So that's something that the Cubs are up against, and they're going to have to do something different. The Cubs are going to have to do something different to break that what's been thrown at the hitters.
I think Terry's going to, no matter what happens in the rest of this World Series, I envision the Cubs coming back, but Terry has really just kind of gotten everybody's attention, how good he's been during the World Series. Only 1 loss in his World Series career, I think, speaks volumes to the job that he's done. You know, you look at the Cleveland Indians, we've said it many, many times. I don't think people outside of Chicago, sure, we're a little biased, but, you know, when you look at the two teams, this Cubs team is better. I mean, they got better starting pitching. Part of that's injury, but you look at the players, I mean, they're deeper. But the bottom line is this: his players believe in his maneuvering during the game, and I think that's the key. The funny thing about it is, I said to you last night, can you believe Mike Napoli's not in there tonight? Like, Mike Napoli's not in there.
That's a gutsy move.
It's a gutsy move, and his players get it. And you know, what does Napoli do? He comes in, hits a rocket. Actually thought he hit it out last night. Didn't, but he ends up over at first base, makes a couple defensive plays. It's how they operate. It's not a tiered system, meaning the guys who do more, he looks to and expects more. I think he's got equality in that clubhouse. He loves his 25th guy, his 24th guy just as much as he loves his number ones and number twos. And when you create that dynamic, your players respond.
All right, you're going to be throwing out the first pitch tonight.
You nervous?
Excited? Are you nervous?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited. This is a World Series. Throwing out the first pitch, it's an honor.
Right.
I'm sporting a 80s, 90s BP jersey for that, and with the World Series.
Did they give you that, or you had that in your closet?
No, this is out of the closet, and it's BP, so I want the vibe to get over
like
to the offense.
balls.
We need to swing the bats a little bit, so I'm going with this. It's a classic it's Cooperstown collection. Right out of the closet.
What player do you have on the back?
Well, I'll keep that as a surprise.
There you go. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back right here on CSN.
This Cubs injury report is brought to you by ATI Physical Therapy, taking physical therapy to a higher level. Ask your doctor about ATI Physical Therapy. Get there.
For a truly great sandwich, choose Mr. Submarine. With only the tastiest meats, cheeses, and garden-fresh veggies on Toronto bakery bread, dive into deliciousness with Mr. Submarine.
We asked a group of young people when they thought they should start saving for retirement. Then we asked some older people when they actually did start saving. This gap between when we should start saving and when we actually do is one of the reasons why too many of us aren't prepared for retirement.
Just start as early as you can. It's going to pay off in the future.
If we all start saving a little more today, we'll all be better prepared tomorrow.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
We started with the class-leading RX. We gave it paddle shifters to help you command the road. A sport mode to help you control the road. And a sport-tuned suspension to help you connect with the road. The Lexus RX F-Sport. This is the RX Elevated. Lease the 2016 RX 350 for $419 a month for 36 months. See your Lexus dealer.
The Chicago Cubs are in the World Series, and Wrigleyville Sports is the place for all your official gear. World Series t-shirts, sweatshirts, and the official locker room cap worn by the team. Champagne not included. Pins, flags, collectibles, and toys for Cubs fans of any age. Everything you need to celebrate the Cubs' first pennant since 1945. Visit our store across from Wrigley Field or WrigleyvilleSports.com now.
Don't miss Sports Talk Live on CSN. David Kaplan leads a roundtable on the day's hottest topics. Sports Talk Live, presented by Chevy Silverado. Weeknights at 6 on CSN.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
All right, there is motivational speaker John Belushi in the Cubs clubhouse as they get themselves ready to play a baseball game. That's one of the more memorable lines that we've ever seen in the movies. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live. Alongside the Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg will throw out the first pitch tonight. And Todd Hollandsworth, I'm David Kaplan. All right, before we get to your guys' keys, when you're in the moment now, Joe always says don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure and all of these catchy things. Right before you come out of the clubhouse and you step out here, what's going through your mind? How do you relax yourself in the moment?
For me, I would just jump in the moment. I mean, I guess that's the way I always saw it. Early in my career, I probably got a little bit worked up. I was younger when I was in the playoffs. I was 22, 23 years old when I was with the Dodgers the first time, playing every day. So, I was focused. I used to always come out and run. Everybody thought, you come out here to stretch and run and get loose. I used to come out here to run off the energy. That's what it was. I was pent up. I was ready to run through a wall. So I had to kind of tire myself out, and that was always my objective. My managers used to say to me, Holly, why do you go down to the cage, a half hour before the game and take 100 hacks? I said, so I get tired. Because if you let me out there and I'm not tired, there's a good chance you're not going to get the player you want.
I also liked my pregame ritual and routine. I stuck to that most of the time. I always felt good, the big games, whatever, when I was doing my routine. I covered what I had to cover, what would come my way during the game, all the throws, all the flips with the shortstops, backhands up the middle, working the other way with my bat, have my bat ready to go. And then just about 5 minutes before I'd run out to the field, that's where the butterflies would set in. If I had butterflies, that was a good thing for me. They lasted about 5 or 10 minutes. As soon as I got up to the top step, when I'm running out to second base, I said, I'm good to go. I've done all I could do. I'm going to go out and play the game.
Beautiful. All right, I hope the Cubs are listening to these guys. Now time for our Fields Auto Group keys to the game. Take it away, Holly.
All right, make the necessary adjustments right off the top. Now, listen, they're going to face Bauer, and I've said this a couple times. Pay attention to the ball game. They're going to face a lot of guys out of that Indians bullpen tonight. Sometimes it's more of a spring training field, but oddly enough, in an elimination game. I really do believe this is what Terry Francona is going to employ tonight against the Cubs. You are not going to see a heavy dose of Bauer unless the Indians somehow score a ton of runs early. Maybe they try to get him longer. The idea is that he's going to be in there one time through. He'll be right into that bullpen. Not easy at bats. Seeing a guy, seeing another guy, really not able to kind of connect the dots. So you're going to have to be on your game, and you're going to have to prepare yourself for those at bats. Cubs hitters, get ready for a bullpen day. So make the necessary adjustments. That would be good. All right, the stretch. Now, I'm not talking Eddie Vedder here. That's the 7th inning stretch. The stretch, I'm talking John Lester. Anticipate this. I explained to you what happened in the first inning in Game 2. It was a little messy. Part of that was getting John Lester in the stretch. Now, it's not that they were running, and it's not that there was necessarily applied pressure because of the base runners and the Indians were doing anything different. It's just that I think the Indians are going to try and play some small ball against John. I think they want to do more of what they tried to do back in Game 1, and they didn't do enough of it, and they still were able to win the baseball game. I expect them to try to test John Lester against the bunt and a few other things, so expect that to happen in this ball game. The last one, win one moment at a time. Just a little piece of motivation that I used to kind of carry in my back pocket. It's pretty simple. You got to win one pitch at a time, and that's the way that the rest of this season's got to go for the Cubs because they've got nowhere to go. They can't lose.
All right, quickly, key performers. How do you want to go?
I got Ben Zobrist in the 4 spot. Hopefully a couple guys on. Guy that's been there before. He's had a fine postseason. I think he'll come up in a key moment and drive in some runs.
Holly?
Chris Bryant, I'm going there tonight. He has not had the kind of World Series that he's hoped to have had to this point, but I think he's going to get it done tonight.
All right, I'm going to go with old reliable. I'm going to take Anthony Rizzo.
Shocking.
Since you guys took a couple picks I might have looked at. I'll go Rizzo. All right, here we go. Can the Cubs stay alive? Will we see you from Cleveland tomorrow? Hopefully, next game would be Tuesday. Have a great night. Go Cubs.